All right, all right. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Wayland Master Call. My name is Rob Puckett. I'm actually direct to, direct to Symmetry, but I'm really direct to Marshall Wayland, and very grateful for that. Very grateful for our friendship over many, many years, and grateful for just his leadership and how he's led this team. And I know a lot of you have shared that same sentiment, but it is a privilege and an honor to come on here and to share with everybody. And we've got a great call lined up, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it. But before that, let's go ahead and celebrate some people with some leaderboards. And we'll get this blown up, but a lot of good stuff going on here. And this is for week ending April the 4th. So here are our top producer leaderboards here. We've got Felicia Hicks with 10,608. We've got Jamila McBell with 12,108. And look at this, Christopher Scott, way to beat her out by $2. That's awesome. $12,110. Josue Scott, look at that. 12,810 in premium for the week. Christopher Coffey at number 6, 13,486. We've got in the top 5, Bryant Mitchell, 16,335. Melissa Basati was 16,420. And our top 3, Sean Hogue, 17,734. These boards are tight. Margaret Von Jensen was 17,863. And Jake Van Duzen, congrats on making no bones about being number 1 week ending April 4th with $26,131 in annual premium. So awesome job on the production leaderboards. In the recruiting, we've got on the agency owner level, we have Courtney Wallace with 3 brand new packets in, Christina Watts with 4, and we have a tie for second place, Wayne and Heather Brown, along with Amy Falvey, each with 5, and then number 1, Dave Brown, way to go, bud. 6 brand new packets on the agency owner level. Moving to the agency director level, we've got a tie for 4th place. We've got Joe Anderson and Jill Johnson and Bridget Felix, each with 4 brand new packets. We've got Jerry Choate with 7, Roddy and Jessica Jessup with 12, and look at this, buddy Larry. Marshall likes Larry's, right? So 16 brand new packets. Larry and Ann Griffin, way to knock it out. Right and above, we've got Jim Larson with 17. Jamie Susie and Corey Nina, I always pronounce that wrong, but 27. Look, there's a tie. Ryan and Michelle Miller, all of them with 27 brand new agents. Sarah and Jared Reinecke with 31, and Jacob Pogue with 62. So unbelievable results there for the week of April 4th. And here is the recruiting boards on the agent level. So we've got a lot of tie with goodness gracious, tied for 4th, Alan Wilson, Amber Powell, Kara Kelso, Christy Dole, Jennifer O'Brien, Joe Anderson and Jill Johnson, and then Keisha Boykins, all with 2 brand new agents. And we've got in the top 3 actually tied for 2nd, so they're tied for 3rd, right? Tied for 2nd is Alyssa Ruse and Sue Adams with 3, and then Stephanie Gant with 4. So our totals, we had 117 recruits for week ending April 4th. And that, of course, is the total for the month so far, right? 1,026 applications, 486 writers for a total of $1.264 million in annual premium volume. So just awesome stuff going on. Here's some events that you definitely want to get to, right? So if you're around San Antonio, if you're anywhere within a 2 to 3 hour radius, maybe even further, right? Get to these events. More importantly, pack them out with people, right? So we're going to be in San Antonio on the 19th of April. On the 16th of May, we're going to be in Granville, Michigan. Awesome groups there. They're going to knock it out. We're going to be in Orlando for Advanced Markets Boot Camp. That's going to be taking place in Orlando. So if you're focusing on advanced markets or want to be focused on that, definitely check in with your growing up line. Make sure you're ready for that step. But there's going to be a boot camp May 28th through the 30th there. And then, of course, we have a trip coming up. So those of you that have earned the trip to Portugal are going to enjoy that, June 3rd through the 8th. And then another boot camp is going to be in Hartford, Connecticut on June the 20th. And then there's another trip, Transamerica, right? June 22nd to the 26th. And then, of course, the America trip to the Riviera Maya in Mexico, June 25th to the 29th. So a lot of awesome things going on. And but most importantly, if there's an event close to you, get there, make sure you're there, you're present, that you've got the room filled up with a lot of people. So awesome job this week. Can't wait to see what next week's leaderboards look like. But those of you that hit them this week, congrats. And can't say that enough. So perfect. Well, I'm excited about this call. There's one of the things that I know about this business, about life in general, right, is that you're going to face adversity, and it's just part of what it is. It's not what you do. It's when it's easy and things are all going right, then that's I mean, it's simple, right? Like there's nothing that you have to overcome, and it's easy to do that part. It's easy to respond in the right in the right manner when things are going well. What's hard is when it's not going well, right? It's hard to keep our minds where they need to be, and it's just difficult, right? And so it's important, the people that you surround yourself with, the things that you take in, the things that you listen to, the people you listen to, right? So important. But mindset is everything. And this call was entitled, and I got to give credit to Joe, right? Because we're talking about it, and he said, "Man, I like be a coffee bean through adversity." I'm like, "What?" I got to tell you, Joe Chimu, I've grown I've got a deep level of respect for him. He lives in Simpsonville, South Carolina, so that makes him a good guy already because he lives in town close to us. But just a beautiful family. He's been married for I think 7 years to his beautiful wife Ginger. They got 2 awesome kids. They got a 5-year-old son, Isaiah, and then their new one, right? Their girl Hope is a year old. But Joe is 150% family man. Like he is totally focused on his family. But that bleeds over into his agency, into his business. So wanted to bring Joe on real quick. We're going to kind of bounce, back and forth a little bit, but Joe, man,
What's up, buddy?
how's it going, man?
Can't
Um,
complain.
just getting to know you over the years, and those that have had the privilege to get to know you, I know feel the same way. And you're a lot of fun to be around. You're an excuse eliminator. You go after things with a vengeance, and it bleeds into your team. And it's the two that we're going to talk to in just a little bit. Um, folks are going to see that, right? And I remember even some of the first conversations. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but we were talking about this whole coffee bean thing, and I'd never heard it, and the comparisons and all, but I thought, man, that is awesome, and I'd like you to share that. Like, talk to us about what you were saying. How you came up with this whole coffee bean thing and where you heard it, and I think it's something to really think about, right? As we look at business and everything, is hey, what do you want to be? What do you want to align with? So, man, I'm happy to be on here with you. Love you, brother. And I'll let you share for a minute.
Yeah, man. Love you too, buddy. Thanks for having me on. I don't take this lightly. I know there are plenty of things people can be doing on a Tuesday afternoon, Eastern time, at least on my side here. So the fact that you guys are here listening to these random individuals just speaks volume to us. So thank you so much, man. And first and foremost, guys, like I'm just a sinner saved by the grace of God. Nothing special about me. I just get to be able to just brag about the fact that I have the King of Kings DNA in me. That's pretty much all I have going for me here. Also being surrounded by the most amazing people in my life, starting in my own home with my awesome and beautiful wife, Ginger, whose shoulder I get to stand on consistently here. Just amazing giants in this business in life that I'm surrounded with, Rob, that I get to be able to stand on, or whose shoulders I actually get to stand on a consistent basis here. So I'm grateful to say I'm Director Marshall Wayland, and shout out to Tammy as well. This lady has definitely earned every single dollar Marshall pays her because of me. 100% here. So appreciate you, Tammy. My background is pretty plain here, Rob, so I'm not going to get too much into it there, but I will say this, right? This call itself is one in which is common for all of us, right? It doesn't matter where you're at in this business here, guys. We all go through the same process. Every single person. I know some of us are brand new here coming into this business with adversity, all the way up to the Marshalls of this world here who also have adversities as well, all the way up to the Caseys and the Brandons in this business, right? The only difference, guys, is how each and every single one of us just responds to these adversities, right? So I want you guys to write these three things down. E plus R equals O, right? E, the event, plus R, our responses, equals O, which is the outcome. Right. So I'm going to talk to you guys really quickly here about this story, because I've heard this when I was in college by a coach, Rob, and a lot of us come into this business when you get a whole bunch of athletes who are 5 stars, 4 stars, a lot of egos that comes into play, right? And then first thing when you get put on the bench, it's like, okay, well, hey, coach, what's going on now, right? You got me here on a full scholarship. Like, why am I not playing this game that I love so much? And he mapped out this story for me, Rob, that was just so incredible. And it just changed my perspective in life and every adversity that I should come in across on a consistent basis. And he told me a story about 3 things. There's a carrot, there's an egg, and there's a coffee bean. And he says life is a pot of hot boiling water. So I want you guys to just picture symmetry as being that pot of hot boiling water for us here, okay? Because we're all going to go through these adversities here. And these 2 awesome ladies that we have gone through this. But our responses is what's going to be important here. So you told me about the carrot. He says a carrot initially is extremely hard, right, Rob? It's hard. But then you grab that carrot and you drop it into adversity, which is that pot of hot boiling water. And guess what happens, guys? Pretty simple. It softens. So that carrot is just someone who just ends up giving up easily under pressure because of the circumstances that they're actually in. And then there's the egg. That egg is fragile. But then when we drop it in that pot of hot boiling water, guys, it just becomes tough and resistant. And that can be interpreted as someone who just becomes bitter and hardened and just resistant to changes or new perspective after they start facing adversity, right? And then there's that coffee bean. And I want to remind all of us here to just be that coffee bean. Because that coffee bean, when it's dropped into that pot of hot boiling water, it transforms the water, which is someone who just uses adversity to become stronger and resilient, more positive, to turn challenges into opportunities for growth and learning. And that's exactly what happened with these ladies that we're looking at here, guys. Every single one of us, when we're faced with adversity, have faith to feed or fear to feed. See, Rob, like there's 2 things that faith and fear have in common, other than just the word starting with both of them just starting with the letter F. It's the fact that they both believe in the future that hasn't happened yet, right? So we're all in this situation here. I don't know exactly where everybody is actually sitting at, what circumstances that you're actually going through, but we all at some point in this business get punched in the face. And things don't seem to be as sweet as you thought it was going to be. And at that moment, we have a choice to make, which is, do we feed our faith or do we feed our fear? Which one are you truly going to choose at that moment? Because when adversity knocks on the door, you're going to have to respond as being either the carrot, the egg, or the coffee bean. Right? And that choice in and of itself there is all up to us. Along the way, guys, that coffee bean, which is the most important piece of this whole thing, it's the positive that it brings on, even when things aren't going well. It's the opportunity to see every single thing that it's going through as an opportunity to be able to just expand, grow, and change its environment. Right? Because in this business, rather than hiding, these two ladies, Rob, what they've done is they just went on search mode. And shout out to a lot of you guys in this Wayland universe that have poured so much into these two ladies when things were going so tough, and they picked up the phone and reached out. And I'm not going to start naming names because I'm going to start leaving people out, but you know who you are. And we appreciate every single one of you guys for what you've done. I'm so grateful, Rob. I'm going to pass it back over to you there because you got some amazing people on this call, buddy. You're muted, my friend.
Sorry about that. That's the beauty of our business. That's the beauty of not just Symmetry, but the beauty of this team here that I think is uniquely special, right? And we have a group of people that are constantly wanting to share and wanting to reach in, even when there's no monetary gain for that, right? Is that they're reaching over when asked, or whenever to help. And so I'm excited about talking to these ladies. And Latoya came to us in February of 2023, right? And just I know in talking to you, Joe, you said that she was just like fired up, like you could see it in her eyes, right? Just totally ready to get it. And she went after it on a bunch of 50-cent leads, and had a lot of success right out of the gates. I mean, it just started out. In fact, first week wrote 5,200 in annual premium, and then second month in the business did 18,000 in annual premium. Followed up that 18,000 with 15,000 her third month, right? And so 2023, she wound up being the number 8 rookie in the entire company. Just a lot of stuff, right? She's team leader, gunning. I know she's gunning hard for key leader, and then of course AO, and I believe was the top builder, right, in your agency in 2024. So just a lot of awesome things. Latoya, go ahead. You can show your face. We're excited to have you on here. I mean, what's really exciting is to see people come on board and just grab hold of things and make it happen. You had a really quick start at Symmetry. Killed it, right? I'm sure it was really fun, right? And then let me ask you this. Coming out of the gates like that, what would you attribute your quick start to? If you had to say, hey, you know what? I started fast because of this, what would it be?
First, I want to say thank you. It's almost crazy to be here, to have the opportunity to be invited on the Wayland call. So one, I just want to say I'm truly grateful to be even asked or considered. My name's Latoya Mack. I'm direct to Trevor Williams, Joe Chimu, and the Marshall Wayland family. And I'm so, so grateful to be so. First, I want to just say there's a quote from Walt Disney. He said, "All the adversity I've had in my life, all of my troubles and obstacles have strengthened me. You may not realize it when it happens, but a kick in the teeth may be the best thing in the world for you." And so many times through life, those things happen, right? Before joining Symmetry, I was in real estate. I actually do still work a full-time job. I'm in IT as an operations manager working remote, so I still have a full-time job. The goal is to pull that plug, and that will definitely happen. But I had a business in real estate, and when the market kind of hit a tank, I was looking for something different. I actually happened to be Trevor's boss at an engineering company about 15 years ago, and me and him have always remained friends. As I was having my success in real estate, he would always kind of poke in my ear, tell me about insurance. I was always intrigued, but I never really jumped the gun because I was having a lot of success in real estate. When things hit the fan, I was looking for something different. I was at a meditation retreat and really trying to figure out what my next move was. And Trevor actually wrote me at that time, and I jumped on a base shop call. Long story short, to get to answering your question, in real estate, I'm like this silent hustler. I stay in the cut. I'm introverted. I'm just quiet. I just do the things I need to do. But I realized how that hurt me, not speaking up, not being vulnerable, not saying what I need, being embarrassed that I was lacking, whatever the case may be. So joining Symmetry, my mindset was completely different. And I knew I had to come in coachable. I knew I had to come in, and there's a system already planted, so I needed to follow the system. So I came in as a student and I literally followed the leader. They say the best copycat wins, so I don't need to try to reinvent the wheel. So I just literally plugged in and followed the lead of Trevor and Joe.
Well, that's if y'all didn't hear what she just said about the best copycat winning, get a pen and a piece of paper and write that down. It is not a bad thing to go rob and duplicate. When you can rob and duplicate, you're going to miss a lot of the landmines that other people have hit, right? That's the power in it. That's the power in the system, is to be able to take something and learn from the Marshall Waylands and learn from the Joe Chimus and learn from you learn from those that have gone before. And what does that do? The reason we see people making, faster strides, hitting levels faster, is because they're able to take what people have learned and eliminate all that extra time. So man, that's awesome. So speaking of a learning curve, what's that look like for you? When you look back and you go, all right, here's where I started, what does the learning curve look like for you?
One, I feel like when I came in, I moved with intention and belief. So like results just follow, just the way energy in the universe works. But the learning curve, it was staying plugged in. I mean, they have the 4 keys, they have the 4 cornerstones for a reason. And I've been a testament of when you don't follow that, or if something's missing in your business, every single time it's because you're cutting yourself short in the system. So I feel like plugging into the system, leaning in on my mentors, not being afraid to blow Trevor's phone up or ask Joe, or just being open, being open to learn. And it just helped me so much. I went in the virtual office. I'm in there every single day. I don't miss a day being in there. So I was learning from others. We had live dial. I got uncomfortable and live dialed, and it was speeding up things for me. And it was allowing me to get through that learning curve quicker because I was following the system and being coachable and following that. They say like you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So it's like I have to dive in. So I tell agents now, like, just jump in the deep end, and you have me and you have the team and everyone that's going to rally beside you to help you get through whatever learning curve or whatever stage that you are in the business. And just latching on to others, reaching out to people even outside of our agency or outside of the Wayland family. That's been a huge tribute to my success as well, and just sped up things. I mean, I was making a big mess at the beginning for sure, but that all just painted the story, and it's my posture now to be able to help the next one. It wouldn't be the case if I didn't go through all those things. So the adversity is a blessing in the midst of it all.
And you hit on some stuff when you talked about, being intentional, like having, just intention, having belief, right? The cornerstones. And I think that when you think about different people in their journeys, right? There are people that dive 150% in, like they're grabbing everything that is part of the system. And then you've got other people that take the shortcuts. And the problem is there is no shortcut, right? It's kind of like what's that poem? Is it Two Roads Diversion? You know, we all learned it when we were coming up, right? And it's like the one that's traveled most is the one that seems easy, right? But what does it lead to? Nothing, right? It leads to a lot of frustration. And what the other one that's less traveled is, you know, it's tough, but man, the rewards are so much greater, right? And so I love hearing the fact that you were willing to get uncomfortable, because that's what most people are unwilling to do, right? Those that are willing to get out of their comfort zone are the ones that win, right? Because they go after things with a different level of intensity. So you started fast, but then you struggled, right? And all of a sudden you hit that brick wall. Talk to us about that. What did that look like? Like you're going along, everything's going great, and then all of a sudden it's like, bam, there it is, right? And things aren't happening for you. What did that look like for you? And how did you overcome it?
One, I reached out to Trevor, like when I was just struggling and going through the things. And at the beginning, I did get success fast, but I got a reality check too. And I remember hearing stories and stuff. You have that high moment, but you're going to get that low moment. So it's to be expected. And I felt like, I remember Joe would say, like, I can't steal your struggle or story, or so everything I was going through, and because I want to build an agency, this is what I have to go through to help the next person. So studying, I'm always in the back office studying. So like if an appointment's not going right, if an answer rate's not going, whatever the case may be, I'm always digging and trying to find the answer on what I need to correct, because I don't miss calls. You see calls, or people are making money here. Like the system works. So it must be something with me. So I would just really look in the mirror and like ask Joe, like I track my numbers literally from day one, and I'll just go to them and just get that feedback, versus what I did in real estate, being in an island on your own, not asking, getting frustrated. That's when people give up, just so many things. No, go to the people that know what to do, the people that are better than you, that are having the success. So that was the biggest thing. And then just looking at myself in the mirror to ask, am I putting in enough activity? Am I being consistent on my investment? Like I had to look back at me when I would look at the four cornerstones and the four keys of what are you doing, Latoya? Because again, you see people making money and getting success. So I just was trying to find that missing link for myself.
Well, you definitely have an unbelievable leader in Trevor, right?
Absolutely.
To show you the way on, like he struggled too, right? So it's like, all right, well, he struggled and he pushed through the pain, right? And that's the important part of it, is that there's so many, like there's people here right now on this call that are in the midst of the pain, right? And the choice is, there's two choices. Are you going to push through the pain, or are you going to let the pain, dictate what doesn't happen for you? Right? That's the choice. And I love seeing the fact that, because I've watched Trevor push through it. I've watched Joe push through it. I've watched a lot of people push through it, right? And you push through it. So everybody looks at struggle differently. And they, in their mind, they, it means something different to them. I know I've just hearing how you look at things, right? You looked at the struggle as opportunity. Talk to us about that mindset. Because that's hard. Like it's hard when you're in the midst of feeling overwhelmed and things are not going the way they're supposed to be going,
Mhm.
right? The easy thing is to get down, get angry, get bitter, right? Instead of getting better, right? And so talk to us about your thought process there, as far as how you look at that.
I reflected on like things I've already like accomplished in life, or hard things that have already happened. So like every setback is an opportunity. It's setting you up for like a major comeback. So it's like I had to go through that pressure, and it builds you. Like I think they say like diamonds, pressure makes diamonds, or whatever that phrase is. But like I had to go through that pressure. Um, and it's a constant battle, right? I have days like the mind is a huge beast where you have to really be intentional about feeding it the right things, being around the right energy. And that's what I just continue to do. Prayer, meditation, just protecting my own self and space, because the struggle is going to happen. You know what I mean? But I just had to figure out how to keep myself level to know this will pass. I remember, I think it was Jordan Hunt at the Ignite, or not Ignite, I'm sorry, at the Engage conference, and his message was like, this too shall pass. So it's like, just stay in it. Like, you're going to get through this. And I know me and Taj, that's my running buddy. I can't wait for you guys to just hear her. But even me and her, like, we feed off of each other. We motivate each other. We hold each other accountable. So it's like, I was just intentional about making sure I was feeding my mind to stay in the fight. And which is why going on these calls will bring you back to life real quick. You'll hear a story from someone, you'll hear something, and it's like, no, I'm doing the right things. I just need to tweak this. So, like, all of those things, plus my why and the things that I want for me and my family, it just, the grind in me is never going to fade. I know I always would text Joe and Trevor, like, look, I'm not giving up. I know I might be having a bad week or whatever the case is, but Jacob Poe says, stick it out till you figure it out. Well, I'm going to stick this shit all the way out. And I know that I will get to where I want to be. So that's kind of what that looked like for me.
Nice. All right. So you're going through all this struggle.
Yeah.
Did you cut your leads off?
No,
You didn't.
no,
But
I
you
had to just decrease. I had to switch it up what I was doing, but I knew I couldn't completely stop it, because that's when you really lose all momentum. And I have lost momentum from not following that. So I knew I had to keep that alive.
So even though your cash flow was down because you obviously weren't selling because you're struggling, right? So
Mhm.
you kept buying leads.
Yes.
Interesting. I like that, right? That's the key. That's right there. If that's in your mind, get it out. Like it's stinking thinking, right? I remember and everybody's got different opinions, right? It's funny to hear Marshall talk about his initial opinion about leads because well y'all probably heard the story, right? He thought the leads sucked, but he was quickly told that he sucked, right? And he just had to get better. But here's the thing, right? It's kind of like, I love hearing that because so many people go in the opposite direction, right? Their mind tells them, wait, I don't have any money to do this, right? Or I'm low.
Mhm.
Instead of going, wait a minute, I can't. It's like saying you're not going to go to the grocery store and buy groceries to eat because there's no money there. Like we would think, well, that's the dumbest thing ever. We have to eat, right? It's the same thing in our business. Like we have to continually um, put the resources in front because without resources, we can't get to the end goal, right? The destination. So I love hearing the fact that your mindset was right, and I'm sure that came from a lot of counseling, right, with Trevor and Joe
Absolutely. They've
and
seen
the line to go.
all my emotions.
Yeah, absolutely. So what it yeah, as you're going through these struggles, because I know you've been big on recruiting too. What did recruiting look like for you as you were struggling down the road?
I continue on with recruiting. What I realized as I was going through that, you can't build momentum by like slowing down. So I just remember Trevor and Joe, like, just stay in it. You just got to stay in it. That's recruiting too. And I remember at times I would almost feel defeated. Like, am I leading from the front? I'm not writing business. And, there's different ways to lead from the front. Yes, production is one of those, but there's so many other ways that you can lead from the front. And what I realized is that what I was going through, the struggle, just, it was like my most authentic time to recruit, because I have a real story to tell. Like, I've been down, I've been under, like I've had no money, I've had money. Like, I started to realize just what it could speak to agents, because I'm another testimony of what had happened. So I didn't stop recruiting. I kept my foot on the gas, and I haven't stopped, and it just kept things rolling. And the momentum will eventually find you if you stay consistent and at it long enough. It's just, people will cut themselves short by stopping, right? So you just got to stay in it, and everything will get to where it should be in God's timing.
And I think that's where it becomes becomes real as well, right? I mean, if it was always sunshine and roses and there was never struggle in this business, right? I mean, for me, I would look at it and go, there's no way, right? Because that's just not realistic. There's going to be struggles along the way, right? And it's what you do with them. So I love hearing, how you went through that. Last thing, and I want to get to Taj for sure, but along this journey, a lot of people wind up making sacrifices. There's things that maybe you don't do or you don't get or whatever. What does that look like for you? What did it look like as you were getting back on track? You said you had to adjust with the leads and exactly what you were doing there, but I'm sure there were sacrifices as well. So paint that picture for us.
Yeah, the sacrifices, it's just intentionality, like with my time, my energy, my focus, and then trading that comfort for the purpose of what I'm after. So you have friends or people that's not in the same mindset as you, which is why you need to be close to the Symmetry family, because we all have the same dreams and mindset. But friends, you're still working, didn't you work your job? Like, they just don't get the bigger picture. So it was like, okay, you need to cut off that person. Like, they're not feeding my energy and the things that I need, right? So it was just having the proper boundaries, sacrificing that comfort and time, looking at the bigger picture. I know me and Taj always talk. She's like, let's look at the bigger picture. Like, what are we after? You know what I mean? And in the midst of that, that meant there are sacrifices. I may not be doing the things that I was doing. I may put the extra money I have here in the business. It's like staying focused on what I have to continue to fuel my business. This is a temporary sacrifice. It's going to get to a point where I'm not always going to be grinding like this, or it's not going to look the same. But right now, this is a season that I'm in, and I just have to like tunnel vision and block out all the noise of the people that's not speaking life into me, going towards my own purpose. So I just really am intentional about protecting that space so I can get to where I'm trying to go.
Man, so awesome. Super proud of you.
Thank you.
Just seeing how your journey's been over the last you just passed 2 years, right?
Yes.
Of being here. And so we're certainly glad you're here. And I know that Trevor and Joe are ecstatic that you're here. And I can't wait to see what you do for the rest of 2025, right?
Thank
And
you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Love all you guys out there. Thank you so much for listening to me. And I'm excited for you to hear my running buddy. She's so special to me. I love her. I appreciate her, Taj. I just want you to know I'm just so grateful for everything that you do for me in our relationship, and do the damn thing. Thank you guys so much. Bye.
Rob,
awesome.
I'll step in here because like this so many amazing stuff that she said. And I say this because if you guys have never read the 12-week year, grab a chance and grab that book, get a chance to actually read it, because it talks about the emotional cycle, right? In business. And I relate this a lot to Symmetry, right? And he talks about the 5 different stages, right? Stage 1 is that uninformed optimism. And then stage 2 is the informed pessimism. Then you got stage 3, which is the valley of despair. Then you got stage 4, which is the informed optimism. And then stage 5, which is pretty much success and whatsoever there. But I'm going to talk about those first 3 stages because that's a lot of the things that she talked about and what we're talking about here today. And put a 1 in the chat for me, guys, if you're in stage 1, which is you're brand new here, right? That uninformed optimism. Put a 1 in the chat for me. Right? See, like, I can never forget, Rob, like that's the most exciting stage. This is when like we start imagining all the benefits that this company is going to do for us. I already had my Ferrari parked in my garage. Marshall was telling me all the struggles about this business. I was not hearing anything. All I heard was a big old 10-bedroom house with the Ferrari in the garage. That's all I heard, right? That's stage 1. We've all been there. And then we get to stage 2. And we're going to be vulnerable here, be honest. Put a 2 in the chat for me if you're in stage 2. That's that informed pessimism. You finally got some leads in your hands. You start working this business and you start getting punched. And I raise my hands because I was that for Marshall, 100%. Right? And this is when, Rob, reality starts to kick in. And this is when you start looking at all the positive emotions that you had before you started this business start to become sour. And then you get like me, you call Marshall, hey man, Marshall, the leads suck, the system suck, you suck, Symmetry suck, everything sucks, right? And then like exactly what Brandon in case you told Marshall, which is no, you suck. It's not anything else. It's just you. That's in that second stage for all of us. And we start looking for reasons as to why we're going to start abandoning this effort. Is this really worth it? And then it gets even worse. Then you get in that valley of despair, which is really the lowest point for all of us. And I love what Latoya talked about here because she did so many great stuff at that moment. She stayed close to the fire. When in that stage, a lot of us stay away from the fire. Right? And I'm not going to have you guys put a 3 in the chat, but like we know who we are if you're in that stage 3 and you're getting away from the fire. You're not doing the things, the great 8 that helps us win in this business consistently. You're not reaching out to others because you feel like you're not winning. So is a time with Jacob Pogue worth it? A time with Marshall worth it? Right? And I love what Latoya did. Man, shout out to Ryan Miller. I said I wasn't going to name names, but Ryan, man, honestly, shout out to Ryan Miller because he took time every single week to pour into Latoya. But I love that she was not afraid enough to take on that challenge to say, hey, let me have someone who's where I'm at be able to pour into me during my darkest moments in this business. And you have to continuously grow in this moment, guys, because in this moment, I'm not saying at some point when you get past stage 3, you get into 4 and 5, that you're not going to have any problems. You're going to have problems, but you're going to be bigger than your problems. As I mentioned, Marshall does have problems, but is trying to decide if $300 to fix my car or $300 to invest in leads is not a conversation that he's having. He has a much different problem than we do. A $5,000 chargeback isn't a problem for him, but it could be a problem for the rest of us. Only thing that's different is he is just bigger than his problems in these moments. Back over to you, buddy.
Good stuff. This next person, I remember the first time I met her was at Denver conference. And by the way, speaking of which, we were talking about problems and decisions. I know these 2 ladies didn't miss conference, right? And so, if you're sitting there and you're, if you're not registered for Denver, my question is, why not? Like you hit the done button, and then from there, you go and you press on and you make the next 120 days. You go screaming into Denver, right? It's not about you being there. It's about how many people you're going to have with you, right? And so, I encourage if you're on this call today and you're not registered, when we hang up, call your upline and get registered. Say, I'm in. I'm, just hit the done button. But this lady here, I remember a conversation, Taj, we had, and I walked away from that conversation going, man, I like her. Like, you're full of energy. You're just everything about you. I walked away just, smiling. Right. And I think that's why they call you the CEO. And I think that's the chief energy officer. Right. So that's what you've been named, but came to us in April of 2023. So, man, 2 years, right, this month. So happy anniversary. That's great, right? And you had a different start than Latoya had, right? You started off real slow. I think it was a month before you wrote your first policy. But one thing that was said about you is that you had consistent activity. You continued to do the things that needed to be done. So in 2023, you had 64,000 in annual premium written, and I think then in 2024 you made 6 figures, right? And so just a lot of stuff going on. Wayland Impact Player of the Year. That's an awesome award to get. And I think it comes from being the CEO, right? And just having all kinds of energy. But I'm super excited to have you on today. Really excited to see what you've accomplished over the last couple of years. But your journey being opposite of Latoya's. Let me ask you this. What kept you from, a lot of people just throw in the towel, right? They don't write something, it's a month, or they buy their first batch of leads, they fall on their face with them, and they're just like, they're out, right? So what kept you from doing that?
Yeah, no, great question. So again, Taj Gungva, Director Joe Chimu in the Martian Whalum hierarchy. And just to give you a little background, because I think that would kind of speak volume to where some of that grit comes from. But I was a Division I women's basketball coach for 25 years. And, in that arena, we do this thing called recruiting. And I remember doing my interview with Joe when we first spoke, and he was telling me, he was painting the most horrific picture. He was like, it's hard, it's grit, this is going to be tough. Like, you got to da da da. And the competitor in me is just like, bring it, just bring it. Like the competitor is getting all fired up, and he didn't even know that, but I'm getting fired up on the other line. And, and I remember the conversation I was telling him, I said, Joe, I'm in an industry where, as we were kind of talking about dials, right? And he was just talking about some of the struggles of dialing. And I said, Joe, I just left an industry where you would chase a kid for 1, 2, or 3 years, recruiting them, telling them that your university is the place they want to come play. And after that long time, you're getting to know them, their families, you're going to their schools, you're leaving your family to go to hang with their family, you're watching their kids instead of your kids. You put all this into them. And after 2 or 3 years, they go, we want to go to Tennessee, or we want to go to Carolina, or we want to go somewhere else. And so I was just telling Joe, I was like, when you kind of have that DNA in you after so many years, when you're trying to interact with people, and then you come into a space where the interaction can be a 5-second thing or a 10-second, hey, click, like I said, it doesn't seem as crazy anymore. It's like, I don't know what you look like on the other line. I don't know, what you're wearing. Like if you walked by me in the street, I wouldn't know you just hung up on me. I wouldn't know. I have no clue, right? This is not like you're in somebody's face and you're recruiting for 2 years. So a big part of why, when things were going hard here, why I didn't quit was just because I remembered how much I had to go through with that experience. And when I came here and things were tough, I was able to lean on Joe. I mean, he was constantly, I think when I first started, I was harassing him like every day. It was crazy. And he would just say, keep calling me. And I'm like, he doesn't really mean this. Like, he's saying it, but, and after a while you get to know Joe, and he meant it, right? He meant it, but I'm still like trying to feel it out. He's feeling me out. And I'm like, I got another question. What's going on? I remember my first dial session, and I was like, I think I called through 50 people, and I got 3 appointments, and I thought that was awful. I was like, I said, I don't even want to talk to him. I don't want to tell him I only got 3 appointments from all these dials, right? So I pick up the phone. I'm like, hey, Joe, I got 3 appointments. And he's like, that's awesome. Great job. He was like, great job. And I'm sitting there like, that's a great job. And he was like, you don't know how hard it is to book appointments. That's a great job. And I'm like, okay, because I'm figuring this thing out. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm figuring it out. I'm learning. I'm leaning on people. Trevor's around. I can ask him questions. And I'm just figuring this thing out. But I think the most important things that helped was just space to grow without judgment. I felt that was a real thing here. And I could feel that in Joe's agency. Like, it didn't matter if I was doing great, not great. He really valued just being consistent and show up. And he kept it so simple. He was like, the numbers are all great, but he was like, Taj, if you can just be consistent and show up, he was like, that speaks volumes more than anything else. And I was like, hey, I can do that. I can show up. I can be somewhere. Like, I can do that. Like, that's the things that you can control, right? And as a coach, I would always tell that to my athletes, right? What are the things you can control? Working hard in practice. You can't control if the coach is going to put you in the game, but you can control working hard every day, right? You can control coming in with a great attitude, right? So for me, it was like, okay, when Joe was saying those things to me, it resonates. I'm like, all right, I got to just make sure that I'm consistent and that I'm coming in with the right attitude, because like Latoya said, mindset is so important. I mean, like literally the fight you have in your head is it's so real, it's every day, and it's so important to understand that it's there and what you have to do and that positive self-talk that you need to have. Because even if you're going great, Rob Puckett's doing great, Joe Chimu's doing great, everybody's doing great, but like you say, we still have struggles, right? So at the end of the day, I want to learn how to do hard better. And that's all it becomes. Like we learn how to do hard better. It doesn't get easier, right? It's not like there's some magic potion that we take and once you get over these obstacles, it's gone forever, right? We just learn how to do hard better. We learn how to have a different mindset. And I think reading is so huge. It was crazy because it got to a point, Rob, where I was like wanting to pick up the phone and call Joe and be like, I don't know, if this is for me. I don't know, like, ah, it's been some time, been in the grind. And I'm like, I'm looking at the bank account and the hubby's looking at me and I'm like, you know, and reading is so important, and I'll be the first to say I'm not as consistent as I need to be with it, but I swear, like at the times I pick the book up, like God just puts me in the right place and takes me to the right chapter or whatever. So I'm reading this book called The Heart of a Leader by Ken Blanchard. And there's a quote in it that says, success is not forever and failure is not fatal. And I just remember saying, like, that was on time. Like I needed that. Like I needed that, like that juice. Like you just like reading will give you some juice that'll get your mind right, or reading will give you the right mindset. So when you go into something, your mind is right, because that is the biggest thing that I think helped me out is being able to understand, Taj, just like you told your athletes to manage that mindset when they go into games, you got to manage your mindset when you wake up every morning and you jump into this amazing opportunity.
Good stuff. So symmetry, right? One of the beauties of it is that it's just turnkey, right? I mean, if now some people come in and they think they gotta, create it for some reason, but the fact is that it's already created. We don't have to create it. We don't have to recreate it. We just gotta plug in. It's like being given the keys to your dream car. You didn't have to do anything for it. Like, boom, there it is, right? And all you got to do is stick the key in and turn it, right? And so, how, when you're looking at how you came in, you're struggling, right? How important was the system to you coming out of that struggle?
It was everything. Latoya talked about it earlier, staying around the fire, right? Being able to pick up the phone and call Joe and just kind of say, I need some assistance with this, or just jumping on the calls and hearing, like Latoya was saying, other people's stories, or giving my running buddy a call and just being just super authentic and just saying, I don't know. Like I just like tell me something, anything. Like I just need to hear some positive, like, and just not even realizing when I first got in how I was reaching out to different things. Joe was like, hey, call this person, call them up, talk to them, or just even when I remember first hearing Marshall Wayland's story, because when you see the end result, you see the end result, right? That's it. That is what it is. And then you hear his story and like how he was knocked down and beat up and had to like, put on his big boy suit and strap up them boots and get moving. It's inspiring. You're like, okay, I'm gonna be all right. Like I'm gonna be okay. But going to the meetings, sitting down with Joe and going over the numbers, like there was just tangible things that were there, So for those that may not have the personalities where the inspirational stories resonate with you, okay, then let's just go to the facts. Let's just go to the numbers. Like, what do the numbers look like? What are the numbers telling you? And I just remember, even as bad as things were, Joe was like, "Are you still doing your dials? Yes. Did you get your leads? Yes. Are you, showing up to all the meetings? Yes." And he was like, "You're gonna be fine." And he would say it with such a calm voice, like, "Todd, you're gonna be fine." Like, and he would always say, um, I can't help you with, today's money problems, but I can definitely help you build a legacy for your family. Like, I want to do that for you, but you got to be around long enough, I got to stay around long enough to get to that point. And so like Latoya said, when we talk, we would always talk about big pictures. Like when we would get stuck in moments sometimes, and everyone does this, right? Like everyone does that. Like if you guys are out there, you feeling me, right? You get stuck in time in the moment of your day that's not going well, and that's all you see. Like nothing else is showing. And so it was like at one point I wrote it down. Like I would just write it down where I could see it on my little desk, right? And I'm like, you all right. You're okay. Just hang in there. Like this is your big picture goal. This is it. Like you want to be able to build a legacy for you want to retire early. You want to help people. You want to help bring people to this opportunity, right? Okay, so stay with that. So today is not the end of the world. And real talk, Rob, sometimes it feel like it's the end of the world. Like real talk, just real talk. And so um that was just huge. Being able to get on a meeting, being able to be in the virtual office. I mean, y'all, if you're not in your virtual office, you're missing out on just opportunities. I would be in there just listening to conversations, people risk assessing, people talking about a funny client they had or a combative client they had and the overcome and how they overcame that. And I learned so much just being in the virtual office. Like that's a great training opportunity that's missed. So just being in the virtual office, just getting that like support from other people because there are hard days. And I love that I never have to go at it alone with our system. Never.
So talk to us, leads, recruiting. What did that look like? You're struggling. So what did that look like for you?
So I'll be honest, a little different from T. It came choppy, right? Because the reality is if my SLO is being pulled, but there's nothing there's nothing for the SLO to pull, right? And so I had to start getting creative. One thing Joe, always would just love about is I'm saying, okay, I need to get on social media. I need to, I gotta find a way because I need resources. Like I can't do this without resources. And I remember Joe saying, obviously buy the leads. That's the system. He said, but I'm gonna tell you something. Find a way to be here. Find a way to be profitable. Find a way. So I'm finding a way. I'm like, okay, those Jordans that I really like, sold. That treadmill that I really don't use as much, sold. Like I started trying to find ways to sort of still make it work. Um, and in terms of recruiting, Joe and I just really continued working together, moving forward, coming up with plans, looking at different platforms. He's always encouraging me, stay on the recruiting track, just finding out different creative ways to keep us moving forward. And even though there may have been like slumps in the recruiting where we weren't bringing in as much as we wanted to that week or whatever, we always understood big picture. We have to get to this point. And Joe is so great with the numbers. I'm not a numbers person, but I can definitely follow your direction. I can follow the leader. And so he would say, all right, these are the stats in the business. And he said, and he'd be so hyped if he got off a meeting. He said, all right, builder's call right now. I mean, you could be in the pool. You could have been out at the farm. Like it's a builder's call right now. Joe got an idea. Joe's hype. We hype. So we're like all on phones and cars on the farm, on whatever we are, wherever you are. Right. And he would just go through these different ideas and we would say, yeah, let's go. Like, let's go. Because like, we just believed in this thing so much that we were just constantly trying to find ways and just not looking at the moment. Like I love Joe. Joe never looks at the moment. He has the best over optimism. It's like it's raining on him and he could just be talking. And you're like, dude, you're getting wet. And he was like, yes, hey, it's cleaning my head, whatever. And he would just keep it moving. Like he just has this great optimism about him. And I love that. And so like during the hard times, being able to lean on a mentor, my squad, like the Chimu agency, like Trevor, like being able to lean on them has been everything, everything.
Man, I love that because the find a way, right? So many times we look at it and we let our circumstances become our excuse to not find that way, right? It's like, oh, well, my SLO didn't fill. Okay. So find a way, like get on social media, right? Like there's a lot of people that don't even take leads, right? They work referral business, right? So why not get in front of people? Why not, use that as an opportunity, right, to become better at getting referral business off the leads that you do get, right? Like it's about finding a way, and I love the fact that you do that. Two more things real quick. I know we're at the top of the hour, but I really want to ask these of you. You know, we talked about you being the chief energy officer. Talk to us about the importance of positive energy and how the impact that has on your business overall and the impact that it had while you were struggling.
Yeah, no, for me, those are one of the things you can control. We talked about earlier, like what are the things that you can control about your day, right? And, Joe gave the E plus R equals O, right? So I can control like how I want to show up. I can control that, right? That's the one thing I can control in my day, how I show up. And I'm always super intentional about bringing the best version of myself to our agency because I want people to bring the best versions of themselves to our agency, right? To your community. Bring the best version of yourself. And so if I don't set the example of, is my day great? No, not great. But why would I want to give that energy to you? What does that do for your day? It does nothing, Rob. It does nothing for your day. And so I see how it just inspires people around in the office to want to be the same way, want to smile, and then it becomes like a culture, right? It becomes hard to be that person that walks in with the frumpy face because you're like, man, everybody in here has just such a great positive attitude. I don't want to be that guy, And so I love how it's like creating a culture of just positivity because it's so much easier to work in that type of an environment. And I want to always make sure that where I'm working, because I've been in environments that weren't positive. I've been there and it's not fun. It's not fun at all. And so, we take a lot of pride in our agency all the way across. I just happen to be a super extra if y'all haven't figured it out. So I just happen to be super extra at times. But like I feel like our whole like squad brings a great amount of energy in the office and I love it. I feed off of it. Like I'm feeding off of your smile and you don't even know it because that's just the kind of person I am. But I want people to feed off of me the same way because energy is a give and take, right? It's a give and take.
Well, yeah, I'm not even going to ask the last question I had for you because you just covered it. When I was going to ask you about the importance of your leader, right? And how that was your success, but you answered it because the fact is your leader, is exactly how you are, right? And it's naturally, part of your DNA, but makes it a whole lot easier when you can look at somebody like Joe and he's the exact same way, right? And
Absolutely.
so it's a lesson for all of us, right? That's not always easy to do because and we all respond in different ways, right? Because we're human beings. And so it's a choice, like it's that all of us need to look at and always evaluate. Um, and none of us are different, right? So we can look at it and when we don't respond the right way, it's an opportunity to look at it and go, you know what, I could have responded better, right? And you just own it and move on. But I can't thank you enough for being on, Joe. I don't know if you have anything you want to say as we wrap it up, but just two amazing individuals that have gone after it with an intentional you know, just an intentionality of going at something hardcore and making something work and like you said a few minutes ago, finding a way, right, to make it happen. And so Latoya, super proud of you. Taj, super proud of you too. And just seeing, like I said, I remember back that first conversation, I was like, man, this woman's going to do this thing. Like I really walked away feeling that and here we are, right? So I can't wait to see what the next 2 years look like. But I know I'm going to see you in Denver. And y'all, look, if you're not registered, you're going to disappoint me if you don't get registered today. So just get it done. Get it done. John Maxwell says it best. Do it now, 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 right? And we can keep saying that. So just hit the done button. But Marshall, Directs, thank you so much for allowing me to be on here, and Joe and Latoya and Taj. We are very grateful. And let's go help some people. Let's go make it happen. And with that being said, we're going to see you tomorrow on the national call. Don't miss it. That's the next big event, 12:30 Eastern tomorrow. Get on it, be there, be present, and let's go make a difference. Have a great day. Thanks again.
Thank you. See you all.
Thanks, Rob.
So much.